Okay, we're going to get started. It's a little after 6. My name is Paul Galbinski. I'm the dean here at the Northeast Campus, and I want to welcome you to our virtual career night for health sciences. We've got our instructors that are joining us this evening. We have our counselor, Mr. Maddock, who's going to work with me as we kind of tag team the presentation. But we want to thank all of you for joining us tonight with our health sciences being highlighted as our virtual career night. If you're joining us inside of the chat box, there is a link. If you wouldn't mind signing in, that would be great so that we could get some additional information out to you. A few things as we go through the evening, if you could just stay muted as we go through the presentation, that would be great. There is the chat box that you certainly can type in questions. And at the end of this evening, we are going to have an opportunity for Q&A for general questions that we have, and then maybe there's some specific questions you have for our instructional staff that are here with us this evening. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Mr. Maddock is our counselor, and he's going to walk us through the first slides. So a lot of people want to say, well, what is career and technical education? Well, career and technical education is combining those strong academic knowledge that you have with technical skills. And we always talk about that combination gives you, the student, a competitive advantage in the future. And when we look at that, how does this work? We're an extension of your high school. We prepare you for high demand, high skill, high wage careers. And we're going to explain to that how that's going to work. I always like to talk about the OSTC winning equation. How do you put this together? It's pretty simple and straightforward, but it's very, very powerful. We take your academics that you're learning at your home high school, we add those to the technical skills, career and technical education, and that formula is the winning combination to give you, the student, a competitive advantage moving forward after you leave high school and looking at your post-secondary learning. That's the OSTC winning equation. So Oakland County has 4 technical campuses. Tonight, we're coming to you live from the Northeast Campus in Pontiac. There's a Northwest Campus in Clarkston, the Southeast Campus in Royal Oak, and the Southwest Campus in Wixom. These campuses are designed for regional career technical education delivery for juniors and seniors in high school. We've got 9th graders here with us tonight. We've got 10th graders. We've got 11th graders. So it's great that we have all of you with us, but that's how this is designed. And one of the nice things here when we take a look at the technical campuses, students have the ability to go right into the workforce from the campus. They have the ability to go into the armed forces. They have the ability to go into further trade school. They have the ability to go to a 2-year community college. They have the ability to go to a 4-year university. They have the ability to have early college as an option for them, and we're going to learn more about it. And they also have the ability for some of our pre-apprenticeship programs. So everything and anything is available to campus, and I always like to say to our parents and to our students, when you come to the technical campus, your choice of coming is a force multiplier in opportunities, meaning there are many, 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 many opportunities that are presented to you. And tonight, you're going to learn about a lot of those opportunities here at the campus, particularly in our health sciences.
Good evening, everyone. Like Mr. Galbinski said, my name is Mr. Maddock. I'm the counselor at the Northeast Campus. And what you see on your screen right now are the 12 different programs that are available at the Northeast Campus. We have automotive technology and collision repair and refinishing down in our automotive area, computer programming, construction technology, cosmetology, culinary arts and hospitality, cybersecurity networking, engineering, robotics and mechatronics, entrepreneurship, advanced marketing, health sciences, machining, and welding. So those are the 12 different programs that Mr. Galbinski talked about that students can enroll in and take advantage of those opportunities, and again, leave with a competitive advantage. Now, we're here to learn about health sciences tonight, but next week, Mr. Galbinski and I will be back, and we'll be talking cosmetology, November 19th, same place, same time, 6 o'clock. We will take the following Thursday off to celebrate Thanksgiving, but the following week, December 3rd, we'll be highlighting construction, machining, and welding. And then on December 10th, we'll be highlighting the Culinary Arts and Hospitality program and the Entrepreneurship and Advanced Marketing program. So you're all here tonight to learn about health sciences, but if that's just one of the programs right now that you're considering, you are able to join us still for the next several weeks on a Thursday night at 6 o'clock. But tonight, you're here to learn about health sciences, and so I will throw it back to Mr. Galbinski.
Thank you, Mr. Maddock. What you're seeing here now is our career tree for health sciences. And this is a great way, graphic way to look at all of the options that are available. And these are just a small list of everything, but it's a sampling. When you take a look at the entry-level careers, these are things that you can do right out of the program. Medical assistants, certified nurse aide, taking a look at any of the other options that are there that are available. But I want to start one level below. I want to look at the root system. You can see down there academics. We talked about that, how much important that is. You then take a look at experiences. You have all kinds of experiences that are available here in the health sciences program. Then we look at professional skills. Those will be referred to as soft skills. Some will call them hard skills because they're very important. It's about being able to collaborate, being able to communicate, being able to adapt, be flexible, work in a team. All of those types of things are very, very important. And then one of the biggest things in that root system is passion. You got to be passionate about what you're pursuing. And you're going to hear tonight from our instructors what they're passionate about and what it is that they're teaching you. And so when you have a solid root system, now we can look at the tree area. So I mentioned the entry-level careers. You can do that right out of the campus. Then the next question logically is, well, how do I then get to the technical careers? To unlock that next level, it just takes further education, further training. So if you look at the technical careers, you could be an EMT or paramedic. You could move on your way to registered nurse. You could take a look at being a respiratory therapist. And then finally, you would go up to the professional careers. What's it take to get to that level? Again, additional training where you could maybe be a physician, you could be a pharmacist, maybe you're a forensic scientist. What's really neat about this is you can see the leaves on the tree represent the student's goals. This is the actual copy of our tree that hangs in the health sciences classroom. So those student names are listed up there and they wrote what their goal is. The flowers on the tree represent those that have come back and completed programs and degrees and are in their professional careers. So this is the foundation of what it is that we're doing, and it gives a visual representation of that. So at this time, what I'd like to do, our staff is here with us, Mr. LeCarey, Mrs. Doyle, and Mrs. Hollis. I'm going to introduce Mr. LeCarey, and he's going to talk about a portion of the health science program that's available for our first year students, and then from there, he'll introduce Mrs. Doyle. So Mr. LeCarey, take it away.
First off, I want to say thank you. I'm looking here in the participants count right here. We got 55, and I'm super excited about that because that's 55 potential first-year students that I'm going to have the opportunity to have an influence on next year, and that's really, really exciting for me. Just a little bit about me. My background is in outpatient physical therapy and sports medicine. I spent about 12 years doing that, and believe it or not, this is my 14th year here at the campus. So I've been in business for quite a while, and then my 14th year here in education. So I primarily handle the first year students, and my goal for when you leave my my class at the end of June is that you have a strong idea of where do I want to go? What's my roadmap? How do I want to spend the next 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 years of my life? And if I can do that, in addition to giving you some information as far as skills concerning healthcare, we're going to talk about those in a minute, but stuff that you wouldn't be able to learn just in your regular classroom. Anatomy and physiology is a big part of what I teach because it doesn't matter where you go in healthcare if you don't have a solid foundation of the human body, its structure and function. you're not going to be able to perform well with regardless of your particular career. So one thing we focus on, another thing we focus on is medical terminology. This in essence is a whole nother language. You guys are going to be learning the language of medicine. I focus on the prefixes and the suffixes, as well as abbreviations in your first year. Anatomy and physiology, again, super important for you guys to have that strong foundation. If you don't know, the different terms, the different body parts, it's going to be some tough sledding for you. One of the crown jewels we have in our program is this job shadowing opportunity over at St. Joe's Hospital. So students have the right to earn a spot over at St. Joe's. We take students over there for 8 weeks during the second semester, and they're able to job shadow an actual professional for 1 day out of the week. It's pretty amazing because here we are, juniors and seniors in high school, and you have the opportunity to actually see what a respiratory therapist does, what a phlebotomist does, what someone working in the lab actually does, and it gives you information. And I don't think that you can have enough information as a junior and senior in high school to set up those next 2, 4, 6, 8 years of your life. For the second year, you're going to be able to spend some time at a clinical work site. That is, if you're a junior and you decide to come back for a second year, I hand you over to Mrs. Doyle. And there you can earn a couple different certifications. She runs a very, very stringent certified nurse assistant program. I would say it's the best one in the state. She is on top of her game. She knows her skills backwards, forwards, up and down. And guess what? You're going to too, because she's going to hold you to a very, very high standard. We also have a pharmacy technician program that is, we partner up with CVS. So in addition to coursework, you'll have, an opportunity to work in a CVS pharmacy. And then we also have a certified personal trainer program, which is very, very nice because anybody that's interested in physical therapy, occupational therapy, sports medicine, maybe physician assistant, you have an opportunity to become a certified personal trainer. It may not be your destination profession where you're going to be when you're 50 years old, but maybe you can work as a personal trainer and make a very, very good wage while you're working your way through college. So again, the difference that we have as opposed to a class at your home school is you're going to be working next to these healthcare professionals. You're going to be able to draw upon my experience. You're going to be able to draw on Mrs. Doyle's experience, the different clinical environments that we can send you to. We have relationships with pretty much any type of healthcare facility in the Oakland County area, in the Northeast quadrant of Oakland County in particular. You'll have an opportunity to do a job shadowing as a second year. And then work ethic. Twice a year, we meet with individuals from business and industry. It's called our advisory meeting. And the number one thing is our new employees, they got to have a strong work ethic. They need to be passionate about what they're doing. They need to be, show up on time, be excited, be able to leave, their own lives at home and focus on the patients that are in front of them. Because it doesn't matter how bad your day was at home, that person sitting in front of you in that healthcare facility needs your undivided attention. So some of the skills that we teach, these are our hands-on skills. So temperature, obviously it's very, very important temperature right now. Everyone's talking about temperature, fever, with the whole COVID thing. So we do oral temperature, we do a tympanic temperature, we do a temporal temperature. We teach the difference between a green thermometer and a red thermometer. And that's kind of an inside joke that you'll learn a little bit more about when you come to our class. Pulse. So pulse is a carotid pulse in your throat, in your wrist, in your arm, the different air locations for the pulse. We teach proper technique with each one of those. Respirations, how many times you're breathing. Blood pressure. One of the most difficult skills we teach is blood pressure. And we teach it at the very, very, using the old school equipment with a stethoscope and a sphygmomanometer. Reason for that is, if you can do that with that, you can certainly plug someone into a machine and press a button. But to me, it's way more important for you to figure out the technique and understand from a physical and physiological standpoint what's going on when you're taking someone's blood pressure. Height, weight, again, we do the old school double beam balance scale, measure you up with I don't even know what you call it. Mrs. Doyle, can you chime in? What do you call that?
Oh, don't put me on the spot.
Oh, I just did. I'm sorry. Anyways, we teach you how to measure somebody's height. 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, feet, inches, then conversion over to centimeters, okay? We do a cranial nerve assessment. So what a cranial nerve assessment is basically concussion, testing someone for a concussion. So we check all the cranial nerves, your 12 cranial nerves. We use pen lights, we use reflex hammers, we use tuning forks. We use different implements that are soft and different implements that are hard. Something to test your sense of smell. Hand washing, super critical. That's the very first one that we do coming straight out of the gate. And hopefully this year sometime there'll be a showcase where we can get you guys actually physically on our campus. That'd be outstanding. But we'll teach you some of that then. Isolation garment, and that's just a super extension of the PPE. And PPE just stands for your personal protective equipment. Visual acuity. What does 2020 mean? What does 2040 mean? I don't know. Well, guess what? When you leave our class, you're going to know. Okay. CPR, you'll have a chance to earn basic life support through the American Heart Association, as well as Heart Saver. So you have the opportunity to earn the same credentials as that person that's working in a healthcare facility. So you get your actual your BLS certification card. Pretty exciting. Do extensive, not expensive, but it's extensive first aid training. In addition to the CPR, we do a blood simulation lab using fake blood. So you guys will know what the different blood types are: A, B, AB, O, RH positive, RH negative. And this is the part that I really like here, our specimen dissections. So it's one thing to look at something in a book and read about it. It's another thing to do a computer simulation. But until you have that scalpel in your hand and you're cutting through the different tissues and you understand that, wow, this is really tough to cut through, or wow, this is really slippery, I can see why it's so important to have this particular part of my body slippery, i.e. the heart. Heart doesn't stop contracting, at least hope it doesn't, for a very long time. And understand that, oh, I'm going to touch this tissue, and well, it does have, it's very viscous, very slippery. And the reason for that is because if it doesn't, then you're going to develop some friction inside your thoracic cavity, and you're going to have problems with that. And let's not forget about the smell, right? I mean, that's one of the senses that really comes about with these specimen dissections. It's not always a pleasant smell. And guess what? If you're working in healthcare, you're going to have to get used to unpleasant smells. All right, so we get a chance to work on our fetal pig. The reason we choose that specimen is because when we open up those fetal pigs, they look almost identical to what we have going on inside our bodies. The way the heart's positioned, the way the lungs are around the heart, the way the trachea and the esophagus are positioned inside, the way the diaphragm sits on the rib cage, the way the stomach, the liver, the spleen, the gallbladder, small intestine, large intestine, all the way out to the rectum. So once we get that thing opened up, it looks almost exactly like us. And those are probably two of my favorite days for that fetal pig. The next one is a veal heart. Again, we use the veal heart specimen because it is similar to our hearts, but it's only about probably 4 or 5 times as large as ours. A 4-chambered heart. And the interesting thing here is, if you know anything about the life of where veal comes from, it's a baby cow, and it lives a very sedentary, high-fat diet. Gee, does that sound anything like what a lot of us unfortunately have to go through, right? We sit around a lot, we eat high-fat foods because they're available to us, and the incident of coronary artery disease in these veal hearts is very prevalent. The final one we do is a sheep eye, and again, similar to structure and function to what we have. We identify about, I think, 20 different parts of the sheep eye. Mrs. Doyle?
Sure. So like Mr. LeCarry said, CPR is one of the training that everyone gets the opportunity to do when you come to campus. You will get either the choice between a BLS healthcare provider or Heart Saver, depending on what career choice you'd like to do. The BLS that we supply through American American Heart Saver is the same exact one that I do as a nurse in the hospital. So you will get that same certified training, and it is recognized by all of the clinical sites that we partake in. These are just some pictures of our students in the past doing CPR training. We tried our best every year to do a tour of the fire departments. We have a partnership with 4 different local fire departments with Oxford, Auburn Hills, Waterford, and Rochester fire departments, where they take students and they ride the back of ambulances as part of a clinical rotation. That's an available placement for students that are second years. So that's something, an opportunity to look forward to as a second year. Some of the curriculum that we use, these are the textbooks and the online learning that we use. We do law and ethics for the healthcare professional as a second year. As a first year, we use DHO, which is Diversified Health Organization for Health Sciences. And then we also do a textbook that's medical terminology for healthcare professionals, a brand new book this year. Very excited about it, is very good. And then some online learning that we're now doing this year because of going virtual. We have AES, Applied Educational Systems, and Safe Schools may be something that you may use at your home school as well. And then every second year has the opportunity to get a certification right off the bat for OSHA 10 certification, which is a 10-hour certification that talks about stuff like PPE, you hear a lot about in the news right now, bloodborne pathogens, and it's recognized by all the clinical sites that students get to go to. So you don't have to have that training when you get there. You get to go in and prove your certificate right to them before you get to the site. This is my lab here as a second year. I'm hoping that you'll be able to hear me speaking.
Welcome to Health Sciences second year. As a second year, you get to be more focused in your curriculum. I have a simulated lab, which includes 3 hospital beds of all different versions, plus a nursing home bed. Some of the opportunities you can do as a second year is more specialized. I offer here at the high school senior level, you can do a 95-hour program that includes lecture, lab, and then 34 hours in a nursing home performing skills on actual patients. We also offer personal training, which is an online learning modules along with textbooks to include personal training. And then also pharmacy tech, which also is all online learning, but then you get to work an internship at CVS Pharmacy. So as a second year, you get to specialize into what you're most interested in, and I do my best to get you into a clinical of your choice.
Here's a little example of the certified nurse aid program that I teach. Like I said in the video, it is a 95-hour program. This is not for all students. This is only for students that want to focus on nursing as a career profession, or maybe medical assisting as a career profession. Even some students that want to be physician assistants will choose this as a career path to get some clinical hours in before they go on to their physician assistant schooling, because they need clinical hours. It is all hands-on. Like I said, it is lecture, lab, and then 34 hours where I take you to a local nursing home. It's called Regency at Waterford. And all of the students get to perform all of the 52 skills that we learn in my lab on actual patients that actually need these skills. This is my motto, being a nurse. I know I'm a little biased, but this is why I love nursing. Nursing to me is having the privilege to open the eyes of a newborn and to gently close the eyes of a dying man, the first to witness the beginning and the end of life. Some of the opportunities as a second year that you'll be able to also partake in are some other areas and partnerships that we have. Like I said, we have 4 local fire departments. We have a partnership with St. Joe's Mercy Oakland. Also, we have McLaren Hospital down in downtown Pontiac. We have several pediatric offices. I have 1 dental office, and I have 3 urgent cares where I place students. And then this is just a picture of Regency at Waterford on the bottom center, where we actually take students to do the clinical rotation. This is the first year that I actually have a student at Regency at Waterford. I haven't started my clinicals for certified nurse aid, but they actually hired her on because she was 18 and she's making $12.50 an hour, not even trained yet, because they know she has such potential to be there after my program. Again, these are the certifications that we offer just to really solidify that. CNA is a certification for second years. Again, OSHA 10 certification, personal training, and that's online learning, as well as certified pharmacy tech online learning. Both personal training and pharmacy tech will involve internships. And then BLS is an opportunity for the healthcare provider that you can earn while you're here.
All right, thanks, Mrs. Doyle. Thanks, Mr. LeCarry. So they provided a nice overview of the health sciences program, and you will have an opportunity to ask some questions specifically about the class or about different careers here in just a few minutes. I want to just wrap things up and talk about some more general information regarding the technical campus. The majority of our students come from the 5 school districts that are listed there on your screen: Avondale, Lake Orion, Oxford, Pontiac, and Rochester. Those are the 5 large public school districts in our quadrant. We do have some homeschooled students. We have some students from some area private or parochial schools, and we also have students from the local charter schools that attend the Northeast campus. We have a morning session, a 2.5-hour block, where students would get started at the technical campus first thing in the morning. They'd then return to their high school for their afternoon classes to finish up any required academics. Or we have a 2.5-hour block in the afternoon where students would start their day off at their high school and then would come to us for the afternoon. Students end their day at 1:50, so students still are able to participate in any after-school activities or any extracurricular activities that they may be involved in. All of the school districts that were listed on the previous screen do provide a bus to the technical campus every day. So Avondale, Lake Orion, Oxford, Pontiac, Rochester, those school districts do provide a bus to the campus every day to help students get between their high school and the technical campus. Our goal is to get the right student in the right program for the right reason. That's why we invited you all to attend tonight's virtual career night, to make sure that the technical campus and to make sure health sciences was a good fit for you. If you're interested in attending, our website is www.OSTC-online.com. You scroll to the bottom of that home page and the online application is there on the home page. Again, the website, OSTC-online.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and you'll see that big blue box that says apply now. Filling out the online application does not guarantee you're going to get into the technical campus. It also doesn't commit you to coming. This is just going to let us know that you're interested. It's also going to let your high school counselor know that you're interested. We both get a copy of your online application, and then you'll start working with your high school counselor on picking classes for next school year, fitting in the 2.5-hour block at the technical campus. So again, filling this out is quick and easy. You go to the website, OSTC-online.com, scroll to the bottom of the page, and then you'll see that application box, and it'll take you through step by step on filling out that online application. Here's my email address and direct phone number as the counselor. So students or parents that have any questions about enrollment or anything regarding enrollment at the technical campus or into health sciences, you're more than welcome to email me or call my direct line. Mr. Galbinski, again, as our dean, as our principal, his contact information is there as well. And at this time, we want to open things up and answer any questions you may have of either Mrs. Doyle or Mr. LeCarry about their program, or maybe some general overview questions of the technical campus. And you can unmute yourself at the bottom of your screen and ask those, or type them into the chat box, whatever you're more comfortable with.
I have a question. Hello?
Hello, you're on the air.
Terrific. We are very excited to hear all about this. My daughter is currently a junior right now in Lake Orion, and this sounds fabulous. I took detailed notes, and my question is, since she's already in grade 11, and it's a 2-year program, where the second year they're much more specialized, is she just out for the second year? In other words, when she applies for the 2021 to 2022, in other words, she'll only get 1 year out of it. She'll never get that second year specialized. Is that how it would work for her?
Well, that's a great question. And no, there's still plenty of opportunities for her as a 1-year student. Mrs. Doyle, do you want to answer that question of the opportunities that would still be available for a 1-year student?
Absolutely. As a senior coming in, you get the opportunity to get both teachers, myself and Mr. LeCarry, if you'd like. So it depends on your daughter's area of interest. She would definitely stay. You said daughter, correct?
Yes.
Okay, she would definitely stay with Mr. LeCarry for the first semester and learn all the core stuff, the real important prefixes and suffixes, and all the anatomy and all the stuff that she would need as a core. And if she chooses to do the certified nurse aid program, she'd come to me second semester. Or if she wanted to do pharmacy tech or personal training. If she did not want any of those, she would stay in Mr. LeCarry's and do career exploration, where she could then go to the hospital and rotate and see professionals behind the scene to try and choose to get to the back door and be able to see behind the scenes and see what she's interested in. So if she comes in knowing already what she wants to be, she could get both of us. If she's still up in the air and not really knowing, then she can stay with Mr. LeCarry the entire year. It's completely up to her. Would you like to add anything, Mr. LeCarry?
No, that's, yeah, you did a really good job. So seniors that come in for a first year are still eligible to participate in Mrs. Doyle's CNA program. I want to make that very, very clear. So just because you come in as a senior doesn't mean that you're excluded from the opportunity to earn your certified nursing assistant certificate.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem.
Welcome, thank you.
Also had a question through the chat regarding the number of students that are accepted into the nursing program each year. So for students that want to become the CNA or get that CNA license, Mrs. Doyle is able to teach 20 students in the morning and 20 students in the afternoon. Is that right, Mrs. Doyle?
That's correct.
So at most, we would have 40 students in the CNA program. But again, a lot of the students in health sciences aren't interested in nursing. They're interested in some other field where those students might remain out on a work-based learning assignment or doing something else while others are learning those CNA skills.
Yeah, Mr. Maddox, there was one in the chat that talked about the number of certifications that they may be able to learn. Maybe Mr. LeCarry, Mrs. Doyle could talk about the range and what stackable certifications students can get while they're in the program, either the 1 year, the 2 year. One thing I do want to make sure everybody knows is coming to the campus, there's and all of these certifications that we talked about, if you meet the requirements for those, the costs for those certifications are also covered. So there is no out-of-pocket costs for all of those that the instructors have talked about. So maybe Mrs. Doyle, somebody could talk about the one question of how many certs a student could earn during the time that they're here.
So these programs are pretty involved, and each one will take at least 1 semester to complete, whether it's the personal training certification or the pharmacy tech certification, and certainly the CNA certification. We have had, for the ultra motivated students, participate and receive 2 certifications. So they would do a personal training certificate or a farm tech certificate first semester, then join Mrs. Doyle's program for the second semester. So I would say probably 2 is the max. But the unique thing about healthcare is these certifications are pretty specialized. So, and they do take a long time for you to work through those programs. I'm reading the chat now. Mr. Maddock, you want me to answer the question about the oncologist?
Yeah, that'd be a great one.
Wait,
Okay.
can I just interrupt for a second, Mr. LeCarry?
Certainly, you're not interrupting, but please share your
Okay.
knowledge.
I just wanted to say that every student also has the opportunity for the CPR. So everyone will have the
Sure.
opportunity for that one, but that's just a week-long certification. But just so that you guys know that as well, everyone will be able to have that opportunity, whether you're a first year or a second year. You can
So
continue.
yeah, there was a question, student interested in becoming an oncologist, and what would the program look like for somebody wanting to become a doctor?
I
So-
actually have, I have lots of, oh, I'm sorry. I have lots of students that want to specialize to be a pediatrician or an oncologist. I actually get lots of kids that are interested in that. We actually put them as a second year on a bus over to St. Joe's, and they work on the oncology floor. So they would be working side by side with certified nurse aides, with doctors, with nurses that actually specialize in that. We even try to get them back into where they do the chemo and radiation treatments, not participating, but be able to see the pre-procedure and setup for that and the post-procedure for that. So it is a great opportunity. Our program is super high level as far as one thing that really kids leave here with is an amazing foundation for medical terminology. The good thing about medical terminology is it never changes. Itis will always be inflammation. Ectomy will always be surgical removal of, and the kids can earn 4 college credits if they get an 80% or better while they're here. So that can be in any healthcare career.
Very good, thank you. Just want to go down some of these other questions. Can people from every grade come to the high school? So the tech campus is basically just for 11th and 12th grade students. The majority of students and in any of our programs are 11th and 12th graders. Once in a great while, a 10th grader will get enrolled, but the bulk of our students are 11th and 12th graders. There's not any cost to attend the technical campus. We're strictly part of your students, part of your high school schedule. So, the question was, what about the cost? There isn't any cost because it's just part of your high school schedule. Instead of picking classes down one hallway, you're just picking classes down the road. It's part of your schedule. It's part of your graduation requirements. You're earning the credits for that. And again, it will go toward your high school diploma. If you're in 10th grade, you should be applying tonight for the health sciences program. The online application is open, and if you're in 10th grade, interested in coming to the technical campus, getting that completed as soon as possible is going to be to your benefit. Obviously, there's only a certain number of seats available, and with all those different school districts, we do keep track of who was present at these events. That's why Mr. Galbinski wanted you to sign in at the beginning of this session, because we do award points for those students that attend these virtual career nights, because those students then sort of move to the top of the enrollment process. So again, completing that application tonight is really to your benefit.
I have one question.
Go ahead.
So I'm a 10th grader, so for the sophomores, are they going to be applying for the next year one, or?
Correct. Yep. You'll apply for the 21-22 school year. You'd be applying for your junior year.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So Mr. LeCarry and Mrs. Doyle, there's a couple of questions. Student interested in dentistry, if there's something that a student in dentistry could go into, sonography, psychiatric, mental health nursing. Could you guys address some of those specific careers?
Sure. I actually do have 2 dental offices where I have had students do job shadowing for dental hygiene and dentistry, but we don't have any particular where you get a certification at the end. It's just a job shadow to see if that's what you want to do. For sonography, you get to shadow that in the hospital if you're an AM student. Unfortunately, sonography at the hospital, they go to lunch on our PM. So if you are interested in sonography and you know that's what you really want to do, I would recommend that you come in as an AM student. And what was the other career, Mr. Maddox? that you mentioned?
Psychiatric, mental health, nursing.
Unfortunately, that is not allowed. I have students every year that are interested in the psych, and just because of the whole HIPAA thing, and if you guys know what HIPAA is, if you've ever gone to the doctor and you need to sign that protection of privacy, most of the kids that go into psychiatric or the areas, it's very private, and you may, because we're so close in Oakland County, may see a fellow classmate or a family member, so they will not let us shadow in anywhere in mental health or psychiatry or any of those floors that are associated with that. But that's a very good question. I get that every year.
And then another one just came through, gynecology.
Well, gynecology is under that window of a physician. So all the medical terminology that you learn here, I hope you would come if you want to be a gynecologist as a junior, because what Mr. LeCarry teaches for medical terminology for prefixes and suffix, then I, as a second year, do advanced medical terminology. So you'll get actually a whole chapter on gynecology, and every single body part you can imagine, we learn the name of.
Yeah, there's some other questions. I mean, ER nurse obviously still would be a nursing background. So the CNA pathway would be helpful for someone that wanted to be an ER nurse, medic in the military, sort of.
Fire department would be a great place for them.
That's right. Medic would be the fire department. And like I said, we have great relationships with 4 fire departments in Oakland County.
Mrs. Doyle, do you want to, I think some of these questions that are coming up are relating to like certifications. Do you want to talk about the age requirements for a lot of these certifications and why it's not possible for the juniors to achieve that?
Yes. So CNA, that you can become certified as a CNA, whether you're 16, 17, 18, it doesn't matter on your certification. The problem is you can get certified, but the reason that we limit it to just the seniors is because you can't get hired unless you're 18. And it only lasts for 2 years. After 2 years, if you don't have it work at least one 12-hour shift in those 2 years, your certification expires. So that's why we have limited CNA to just seniors. We're trying to keep it due to the age. As far as healthcare, a lot of you are asking a lot of questions. Are there more certifications on other things? As you can imagine, to get names and credentials behind your name, it takes a lot of schooling. So, and it also there's a lot of cost to it. I feel very, very lucky to be able to teach this at the high school level. Usually, this program for CNA is like a $1,200 to $1,900 class at colleges and local places to get this, and we provide it to you for free. So I just think it's a really good opportunity. It's hard to get any really, as a high school senior or junior, as you graduate, it's really hard to get anything in the healthcare facility, because in order to get certifications, you have to work on real people. And it doesn't include your classmates. And that's where we lack, is being able to get those clinical hours.
And it's because the age requirement too.
Correct.
And again, one of the other things students and parents need to realize is most careers in healthcare is going to require additional college, whether it's an associate degree, bachelor's degree, or higher. So this is just a stepping stone. You're still in high school at this point. So going on to the community college or going on to a university afterwards is going to be required for many of these careers that you're asking about.
Okay, so if you get a CNA certificate and you do a 12-hour shift, well, would that be like, will it not expire until, or will it stay retired?
So we will pay the first time for you to become certified. Oakland Schools will cover the cost for everything that you do while you're here as a high school senior, and we'll even pay for your certification test. Once 2 years after that, you're out on you're hopefully in a program like Mr. Maddock just said, like at OCC or a local university. You want to use it as a stepping stone and work. So every 2 years, you have to renew that. The state will send you a notification it's about to expire, and then you just pay the one-time fee, and every 2 years, you keep paying that.
So you pay a fee, or will you take a test?
You would just
renew
pay
it?
the fee. As long as you worked, you just pay the fee. You only have to take the test once.
Okay.
Oh, that's good news, huh?
When
Good
is
que-
the
good question.
certification test?
I'm sorry, say that again?
When's the certification test?
It would not be until June. June of your senior year.
And there's both a written part and a hands-on part. Is that correct, Mrs. Doyle?
Yes, they make you take a written online thing where you're fingerprinted, you're videotaped, and then you have to pass that. And then after you pass that, then you have to demonstrate 4 random skills that a nurse watches you, and it's pass or fail.
And again, that's because it's a state license.
Correct.
This is not something that's coming from the school. You're getting a license from the Department of Labor. What's Lara, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the Licensing
Labor
and
Regulations
Regulatory
Association.
Affairs.
Yeah.
So a couple questions. Does this happen every year? Yes. OTEC is open every year. We enroll students every year. So if you're in 9th grade right now,
Okay, I have
you
two
may
more
not
questions.
you may not get in next year because you're only going to be in 10th grade. But no, every year at this time, we're normally having events like this in person at our building, but right now we're having to do them virtually. So next year, about this time, hopefully we'll be back in the building doing these activities. Another question is getting into this program like winning the lottery.
Yes, it is.
You know, to be lucky enough to have Mr. LeCarry and Mrs. Doyle and Mrs. Hollis as your teachers, some would think that, yes. But no, you know, we every year we enroll a total of 104 students into health sciences. Some of those are first-year students. Some of those are second-year students. Unfortunately, some don't make it to be second year because it is a challenging program. So, so every year we enroll up to 104 students into the program. And typically, I mean, everyone that applies might start out on a waiting list, but we do our best to try to get them enrolled so you don't have to count on winning the lottery.
Could you explain a little bit further about what college credit opportunities are available and compare it with like first year and second year students?
Sure, yeah. The main college credit is medical terminology. And there is, for students, is it the personal trainer certification? Is that that extra class? Is that correct?
Correct.
That's not necessarily college credit. That would be a great occupation you could work in while attending college, though. And it would look good on an application for, you know, physical therapy school or physician assistant school. But that's, you're not going to get college credit from OCC for passing our personal training. But yes,
So
Mr. Maddock, that, yep, the medical terminology.
Yeah, so the
And,
medical terminology, it's a 3-4 credit class depending on the school. There's several colleges around the state that recognize the state-approved program that we teach. And with the exception of the medical terminology, the rest of it is more college preparatory. So like the anatomy and physiology, you're not getting college credit for that. It's giving you a high school level foundation. So when you get into the college level academics, you'll at least have a good background regarding that. So the college credit is the medical terminology class.
So I had a question about so would you guys if you want to go into OB-GYN, would you guys send us to the hospital in the OB-GYN section, or is that not possible?
The OB-GYN section is very hard to get into. We can get you in to do a job shadow in the mother baby unit so you can see after mothers deliver. And it is a rare opportunity that I can get you into a private doctor's office. Most of the people that want to do OB-GYN end up either going to the hospital to job shadow, or they end up going to one of the pediatric offices that I have opportunities for. But because there's so many residents and externs and nursing schools in those areas, they won't let us as a high school student in that area. But that's a very good question. Just really hard to get into as a high school student.
Okay. And then also you said like if you wanted to go to mental health you can't, but is there anything like near close to that like that's available in the hospital or not really?
Mr. LeCarry, would you like to, I'm not sure, because we get this question every single year. There's just that law.
It's a
that,
confidentiality issue there,
yeah,
right?
so they don't like us
so-
there.
Right, but again, just a strong background in your anatomy and physiology is going to set you up for down the road when you are able to to get those experiences.
The one thing that I always want to tell students that are thinking about health sciences, and it's been alluded to tonight. I mean, it is one of our more challenging programs because healthcare workers need to be on top of their game. So there are weekly tests in those medical terminologies, and the teachers do a great job helping students be prepared for that. But there are weekly tests that are given, and students just get into that routine starting week 1. And just know that the medical terminology tests are going to be on Friday, and other types of assessments middle of the week. But so many students, again, that are looking to go into healthcare, we always hear that they'd rather stay at the technical campus more rather than going back to their high school, because they are in a classroom with other students with similar career goals that they have. They make new friendships. One thing that we forgot to mention this evening is the professional student organization HOSA, Health Occupation Students of America. Students can participate in different events and competitions through HOSA, and again, just develop new friendships from students from different schools, again, with similar career goals that they themselves have. Any other questions? Or Mr. Galbinski, as our fearless leader, anything that you'd like to add before wrapping things up for the evening?
I think this last question that just came in is a great question. Can you change career goals? One of the greatest things here about the campus is you get to experience these at a young age, and you may think you want something, and then you get into it and say, that's not for me. As you learned tonight, there's lots and lots of options just inside of healthcare and our health science programs. But as you look at this is a great way to explore these opportunities, because now, as we've said over and over, we're extension of your classroom. I love Mr. Maddox's idea. We're not down the hall, we're just down the road. It's a great way to think about it, and you get an opportunity to experience those. So there are students that will make a change, and they'll have a conversation with our instructors and go, this is really what I think I want to do. Then they'll help guide you and say, well, let's get into clinical rotation. Let's see what that's like. And then if it's a second year opportunity, let's really do some work in there. And then if you're like, you know what? It's not what I thought it would want to be. Great. You learned something right then and there, what you didn't want to do. And that can be sometimes just as valuable as figuring out what it is you want to do. So I hope that answers your question. And when we look at it, you learn a lot of opportunities and what's available in health sciences here at the campus. As Mr. Maddox said, we have more of these evenings and different programs that you saw. There may be some other things that would spark your interest as well. So I hope that answered your question. We're here to support you, guide you. You have business, you have industry experts. I mean, you have Mr. LeCarry, Mrs. Doyle, you have Mrs. Hollis. I mean, right now, Mrs. Doyle is a practicing nurse. She's in this stuff all the time. And so they're here to mentor you and work through those, as Mr. Maddox is, myself, and everybody else here at the campus. That's our opportunity. We always talk about our North Star. Every student graduates progressing to quality post-secondary learning. It has to be determined, what is that area you want to focus in? what's the lifestyle you want, what's the career you want. So I hope that answered some of those questions that we had there, but I also like to offer that opportunity for parents and students to think about.
Ms. Doyle, you said something about books. Will we have to buy those ourselves?
You
Or
will not
are
have
they
to spend
provided?
any money. Don't worry about spending any money. We will take care of you while you're here. No books. You're fine. We can do stuff online. I can loan you out a book. There's nothing. You don't have to put any money forward. We will help 100%. The uniforms that you wear, we provide for you. So you wear scrubs to the places that you go to. If you go to the fire department, we get all the uniform and boots and stuff that you need. So you don't have to spend any money.
That's sick.
Miss Doyle, I had one last question.
Yes.
Would we be like, if we would go to the hospital, would we be able to go into the ICU or like, you know?
ICU is all dependent on what's going on at the time. We have had students go into the ICU in the past. I don't think they'll let us in there right now. It's totally dependent on what's going on. We have been able to get students in there, students that are really, really interested. We've had them be able to do like one day. Hopefully as this pandemic hopefully calms down a little, then we can get into a couple more places.
Well, I have one more. So if we get accepted, will we be back into the classrooms next
If
year,
you what?
or will we be virtual?
Say
So
that again?
the question was, if we get accepted, would we be in the classroom or would we still be virtual? Great question, and we are hoping, fingers crossed, that we will be all in person, right? That's what everybody wants. And so currently right now, the technical campus, like many of the high schools you are attending in the area, are virtual. And so we are still as well doing our delivery of curriculum virtually. Google Classroom's our platform. Our teachers use Google Meet. They use Zoom to connect with their students, just like what we're doing. So currently we're virtual. That will all be determined by, and you guys are in the health area, Oakland County Health Department is guiding all of these areas of what we're looking at positivity rates, what's happening with all of that. So our hope would be that we would get our current students back to the classroom before the end of the school year. And we definitely hope when you're joining us next fall that we are back face to face. But that's all dependent on what the medical experts say and the county health department says for what's going to happen specifically here in Oakland County. Great question.
There's another one. When do we know if we were to get accepted? Like around what time? So like I said, over the next few weeks, we've got a few more of these virtual career nights. The priority application then is before we leave for the holiday break in December. Once we get back in January, that's when your counselor at your high school will start looking at who's applied to the technical campus. That's when you'll start looking at picking classes for next year. So usually during the month of February, that's when we send our welcome letters to our new students for the following school year. So middle to end of February, maybe the beginning of March is when we would send out our welcome letters to the students that have gotten accepted into the program. Because by that time, you will have already picked your classes with your high school, and you would have been able to let your counselor know at your high school that you wanted to come to the tech campus for that 2.5-hour block.
So students from what grade are you gonna send the welcome letters to? Seniors?
So we'll start with the oldest students first, because again, if you're just in 9th grade right now, you're probably not going to get in. So yeah, so we'll start with the current 11th graders, just since they're in their last year of opportunity. 10th graders next. But again, we keep track of who attended these events and try to get as many students in as possible.
So if there aren't any other questions, we first and foremost want to thank all of you for joining us this evening for our virtual career night for our health sciences program. We want to thank Mrs. Doyle, Mr. LeCarry, Ms. Hollis, and all of you for taking time out of your evening to join us to learn some of the great opportunities that are available here at the campus. A few things to keep in mind. If you're interested, make sure you go online, apply tonight, tomorrow, work with that. Second thing, coming to the campus costs you $0. It's free. This whole program you heard about, everything is covered. So it's a win-win-win. And then the last thing would be, if you do have some questions, please reach out to us. We're here to help you, guide you. Mr. Maddock works with all of your counselors at your home high school. And if he's not that specific one, there's someone in that high school that he will work with in direct contact. Parents, if you have questions, please email us. This is a partnership as you're working with your son or daughter to help them move through these career choices for these great opportunities that are here. We're going to stay with here the next few minutes. If you would like to hang around and ask some more individual questions, our teachers would be here to do that. But we just kind of want to formally bring this to a close and thank you again for being part of the virtual career night here for health sciences at the Northeast campus.